This is a surprisingly robust and challenging puzzle game that will give fits to even the most seasoned of puzzle fans. Instead of rotating the cube horizontally or vertically in order to line up the colors, you instead control Hubie the Cube Master, who has the ability to pick up colors and carry them around the cube to place them wherever he sees fit. When you start, Hubie is one of 6 colors: red, blue, green, white, purple, or orange, which represents the color that he is carrying. You can move him to any square and hit the fire button to drop that color and pick up whatever color you were standing on. The goal is to have the entire side of the cube all one color, which is easier said than done. For starters, it can take a little getting used to the whole rotation of the cube, and it is somewhat challenging when you add in the fact that you can't cross a cube of the color you're carrying, meaning if you're carrying a blue piece, you can't walk onto a blue square. This means that if you're going to achieve your goal, you are going to have to plan out your moves in advance, especially once the cube begins to get sorted. Once you get a side completed, you are rewarded with some brief victory music. While the core concept is simple, the added variations turn AVC into one of the deepest games in the entire 2600 lineup. The blacked out cube is somewhat difficult since you can't see what colors are on the cube unless you move to a new side. Of course, it is easy, albeit annoying, to get around this by just constantly moving from side to side to get a good glimpse of the layout. The much more difficult variation, however, is the restricted movement. In this game, you can only move up and to the right, which doesn't sound that bad until you remember that you can't cross cubes of the color you're carrying. This means, if you want to win the game, you will have to plan out your strategies many moves in advance. Now, I know what you're thinking, and no two variations doesn't sound that deep in terms of replay value. That said, there are 50 different cube layouts, which makes this an incredibly robust title by 1982 standards. The score is kept one of 2 ways, either by a traditional timer or by the number of moves you have to make in order to win. Those moves add up quickly since you gain a point for every square you walk across and every time you pick up a new color. Once you complete a cube and are feeling good about your achievement, be sure to select the computer play game so that you can be put to shame by 1982 AI. Seriously, it is impressive how quickly it solves this thing. Given the rarity of the title, one can only assume that a lot of people missed out on this game. If you're a puzzle fan, you should check it out. The box artwork shows off the color-stealing Cube Master in action, carrying a green cube to its new home. The manual is robust, giving an in-depth backstory on Hubie and his journey to becoming the Cube Master. While the backstory on a puzzle game might seem unnecessary, it's kind of nice to have. While the game did have a title change to Rubik's Cube from Atari Video Cube, both versions are moderately rare, with Rubik's Cube being slightly rarer. Behold the legendary city of Atlantis. From the domed palace to the imperial quarters, the undersea metropolis is truly a sight to behold. Unfortunately for you and the rest of the citizens of Atlantis, the Gorgon fleet has launched an all-out assault, with the only goal being your complete and utter destruction. However, given that you have 3 well-placed anti-aircraft guns, the Gorgon fleet will have to pay a heavy price to achieve their victory. As with virtually all games of the era in this genre, the invasion is done in an orderly fashion. The Gorgon fleet ships will appear, slowly move across the screen, descend a level, and move back across the screen in the opposite direction until they reach the 4th and lowest level, where they will unleash their devastating death ray. There are 3 different types of ships, 2 standard ones and the bandit bomber, that will fly at varying speeds as they make their approach. The standard ships simply blow up when shot. However, the bandit bomber explodes with such force that it will destroy all other ships that are currently on screen. This is usually easier said than done since they are about a quarter the size of the other ships and move twice as fast. It doesn't matter which of the ships makes it to the bombing run level, as their first target will always be the same: the Acropolis command post. This is the single most valuable piece of your defense, since it sits right in the middle of the screen and can rapidly fire 2 shots. Once this is destroyed, you are left with 2 cannons on the far edges of the screen that can only shoot diagonally. While they also have the ability to fire rapidly, it can be tricky to time your shot to hit the enemy. This is especially true on the later levels, when some of the enemy ships fly by so quickly that it can be difficult to identify what kind of vessel just destroyed the domed palace. Now, all is not lost if you do happen to lose the Acropolis command post, as there are a healthy amount of bonus buildings that can be earned. For every 10,000 points you earn a credit which is automatically cashed in at the end of each wave, provided you require it. Thankfully, the first few waves are easily survivable, so you can rack up the points and extra credits. Don't want to face the invading Gorgon fleet alone? Well, by all means, bring a friend along for the death and destruction. In the two-player game, you each take command of one of the sentry guns on the far side of the city. While the shots are trickier, having an extra gunner unleashing hot lead into the sky evens the odds. Sadly, nobody is manning the Acropolis command post, so the center of the sky is usually a bullet-free zone. No matter how well you defend the city, the Gorgons have an unlimited supply of ships, so Atlantis will fall. The elders of Atlantis apparently knew this because, as your once beautiful city is reduced to ash, a ship flies off into space. An arc of sorts, a cosmic arc. Their story is told later on, however. The box cover shows off an impressive battle scene, with the Gorgon fleet inflicting massive damage upon the city of Atlantis. The manual does a nice job of setting the stage for the battle, and breaking down everything that the enemy is going to be throwing at you. Upon release, iMagic held a Defend Atlantis contest, which brought together the best players in the country for a tournament. Those who made it to the finals received a copy of Atlantis 2, which made the game more difficult and greatly reduced the scoring. Those cartridges are among the most sought after for collectors today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more Game Encyclopedia videos.